بعرفش اقوم من على القعده فبعد
Just let me know when you're ready. Cool. Classic. Really? Is it all good? Okay, sweet, perfect. So you should see down in this bottom corner, there should be a little thing that brings up your terminal. Have you used Linux before? Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I was gonna say I think we did some little bits on it, but yeah, so we have to job in to basically do anything. So you know what show, you have to job into the show you're on, and usually have to job into the scene and shot you're on. But so for instance, you would do this. You do job, which is the command to actually job in. We do -D, which is to set our discipline, which for us is always going to be tech anim, if I could spell it correctly. So even if you're doing like cloth or any fur work or any skin work or anything like that, it's always under the tech anim discipline. There are cloth and fur streams, which I'll get to in a minute, but we never job in under them. We always job under tech anim. So job D tech anim is going to be the thing you use all the time. If in the future you move to animation, it'd be job D animation. If you move to lighting, it'd be job D light. And then the yeah, like this bit never changes, and then it'll be the name of the show. So for your example, I think the show you're on is PRD, so that'll be the name of the show. I don't know the shot or scene structure of PRD, but it'd be like that. So I'll just jump into WM, which is what I'm on at the moment. Yep. So you see it goes green, the terminal, to show like it's just a sort of like you've jobbed in. Perfect. But what you can do is once you've jobbed in before, okay, there's a command that is job DH, okay, and that is a history of the last like 30 or so jobs you've jobbed into. Yes, so like if you close it, or if you needed to do, like you can see, for instance, there was a period where I was doing some very similar jobs, like they were all 30340 and it was just 9100, and so I could come here, I could copy this bit, and then I could do, could just type that rather than typing the whole thing out. You could just do it that way. Yeah, job DH is a great one once you've started jobbing into stuff. For the time being, let's just job into here. Okay, so if we want to publish something, so once we publish work right at the very end. This has to be, you need it approved by the supervisor or at least your lead before you publish it. Yeah. I guess if you get in a situation where if you're the only one on PRD, just get it signed off by the supervisor before you start publishing stuff. But as you progress into the show, there might be situations where you're like, I'm just going to publish it. If it's like a Friday 5:30 and lighting really want to render it over the weekend, then you daily it and then you just publish it so they can pick it up without having to work late. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need it to be signed off before we publish it, but sometimes there's extenuating circumstances where sometimes you can just publish something, right? Am I right in thinking you've joined us as a key artist? Are you still there? Oh, have you joined us as a key artist, or are you just an artist or a key artist? Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you're the only one on the show, and you think the lighting need it, but no one signed off it, you can do it, but just be careful, obviously, because we release work from our scenes, but publishing it is allowing all the other people to pick it up. So if you publish things a little bit too cavalier, then, or just without giving it too much thought, it can cause problems. But yes, so the command is npc publish UI. It's a bit slow today. Cool. And this is what it looks like. So your stream is going to be tech anim, right? Because we jobbed in as job D tech anim. Yeah. But what you'll probably find is that you'll probably be publishing like a cloth stream or a first stream or something like that. We don't actually often work in the actual tech anim stream. We just need to job into the tech anim to get all the right tools and the right shelves and Houdini and stuff. So what you want to do is, your first thing you want to do is come up to options and then ignore stream filter. Okay. When you click that, you'll see the stream jumps immediately to anim. That's not us. We can't be doing that. We can't publish anim's work. You would just but now you can navigate to whatever stream you want. So if you've done some work in the cloth stream, go there. The scene and the shot, again, will be whatever you've jobbed into. So make sure you're jobbing into the right thing before going to the publish UI. And then the bundle is essentially what you want to send on to lighting. So we typically work with animated character packages. I'll get onto these in a minute, but that's pretty much the majority of what you're publishing. You might be asked to publish a shot package, but you know, we'll start small. The idea of animated character packages. The shot I'm working on, as you can see, has a book, and it has about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different jellyfish in it. So I could publish all of them, or just one of them, or whatever. You see? Pardon? No, these are different characters. These are not versions. Yeah, you can only publish, you see, see here it says the version number. You can only ever publish the latest version. You cannot publish an old version. So I'll obviously go into what these actually are in a second, but if for any reason they said, oh, can you just publish an old version? What you have to do is make a new version that matches the old version they want published. So it's very rare they'll want you to publish an old version. You know, usually you're showing your most recent version, and if they like it, you're publishing it. Yeah. So what you would do is you would tick all of these boxes. This is basically saying which departments are you allowing to pick it up. There's very, very rarely ever a reason to not tick all of them. You know, again, you might run into a situation where you actually only want to publish the cloth for yourself. You know, like I'm going to run a first sim on it, and I want to publish it to run it in a first stream or whatever, and you'll just be publishing to fur. But if it's actually approved by a supervisor and they want the lighting team to pick it up so they can make their own, they can make a nice render of it, just take it over. Or if you're passing it to FX, you know, they need to do like a wet map or something on it, or whatever they're doing with it, you know, do that. You need to always put a comment in. I usually just say for lighting /FX. On who I'm passing for. You know, if I know it's going to FX, I'll just say for FX. But if I know it's just going to lighting, I'll just say for lighting. And then you click this button down here. But I'm not going to click it because I'm not actually publishing this. This isn't ready to go. Cool. When you actually come to publish and work, we'll go over that again. So don't worry too much. It's very simple. But when you get to the point where they say, cool, that's great, we like what you've done there, can we get that sent over to lighting or released for lighting, feel free to just call me and I will take you through the process again. Yeah. Cool. So I'm just going to open up the hub package UI. So this is where we look at all of our packages and what we call the hub, which is basically where all of our work is stored. And I'm going to go through a little bit of how it all makes sense, and hopefully that should clear up a little bit more about what I was saying about streams and bundles and all the rest of it. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So this is essentially how our pipeline works. We work in a hub, like a package-based pipeline. No, that will be very show dependent. I've worked on shows where I just get asked to do something by the supervisor, and I've worked on other shows where it's much more of a sort of here's a list of tasks, please just get those all done by the deadline, and it's my job to work through what's the most priority and shift them all out. Until you actually start on PRD, which I suspect, I guess, is going to be in the new year at this point, I won't be able to say how you're going to get your work, or how that whole situation is going to go. I don't know if anyone else is on PRD. I don't know how big a project it is. So in my experience on smaller shows, you tend to just have like a daily session, either 3 or 5 times a week, usually in the morning, where you'll review everything you've got done the day before, and you'll sort of talk about what needs doing, and that's how you get what the work you're going to do. They'll be like, okay, cool, can you if you start the show, you're just building a setup and a build and something that works, and they might just have a walking animation of it, and then when they get into shots, they'll start telling you, right, we need to be running in these shots and things like that. It will be more of from a dailies meeting point of view, rather than like a shotgun specifically. They'll probably set up shotgun, so you can also see it there, but I suspect in smaller shows it's much more hands-on. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. If it starts getting really big, like if it starts feeling lots and lots of work, then we'll probably just have to make the team a bit bigger and bring in one of the leads, in which case it would be the lead's responsibility to make sure you knew what you were doing. Cool. Okay, so you can see this is how I'm actually working on this shot at the moment. So the show, I jumped into the show, and then you can see it's my job. My show is SMW. My scene is 301, which I suspect is episode 3. I've only been on the show for a day, so I've no idea. And then the scene I'm working on is 301 007. Okay. So how that translates to the hub is you can see all the scenes. These are all the scenes that are going to be in the show. And then it breaks down into shot sequence. So this scene has 4 shots. And then from there, you have all the different bundles, which are essentially all the different, like, if you think of a bundle as like a package, like a box full of stuff, and each bundle is full of different elements. So when we say an animated character package, or we regularly just break down to as an ACP, you'll often hear people talking about ACPs. It's just animated characters. So like I was saying before, this has a book and a bunch of different jellyfish in it. I think actually somewhere I have a representation here. Excuse me. So you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 jellyfish and a book, yeah? And that translates to the book and then a bunch of jellyfish. You'll probably find some of these jellyfish aren't used, they've been replaced. I'll have to have a look. Like I've said, I'm not this in. So that's quite common. They'll have had AVA 1 to 6, or they'll have ATA to 1 to 4, and then they might have said, actually, we don't like 2 or 3. Can you change them for some 2 new ones? And that's how you end up with like 5 and 6. Yeah. Cool. There's a cloth stream here for 10, which I believe Alex, bless him, might have just made a mistake because there's no anim for 10, or it's possible that there was an anim for 10 and they deleted it. But no, I think he's just it's a typo when he's been making it, so it's fine. Ignore 10. But do you see how we've got anim stream versions of these characters, and then we have cloth stream versions of these characters, and FX stream versions and light stream versions? Yeah. So this basically where the different disciplines work. We don't touch anim's work, lighting don't touch our work or FX work, and so on and so forth. We can help set up lighting's work for them if there's an issue, but we don't mess about with their streams. We only focus on the streams that we deal with. And in the tech anim department, we're the only department that works in multiple streams. Yeah. So we would be in control of anything that's a cloth stream, a tech anim stream, or a fur stream, depending on the nature of the work we needed to do. Cool. What you can see here from the hub is you can see if something's been published. Yeah. Yeah, so published means that, so in the anim stream, it's not I think it's more of a happenstance, but it's actually kind of alphabetic. So like anim goes into cloth goes into FX goes into lighting. Obviously, if we're doing like tech anim streams, then that'd be at the bottom, but you get the idea, right? So the Anim Stream guys publish their work, and you see that they've published it for the FX, Lighting, Crowd, Cloth, Animfer, and Tech Anim streams, which means that we're the next step in the pipeline, obviously. So we can now pick up their work and get going from there. We can pick up their caches, their animation. We can use that to do our simulation work on next. And then when we publish our work on top, then Lighting can go, cool, we can get the animation cache for the bits that we didn't change. We can get the Cloth cache or Tech Anim cache or whatever bits we've done from the Tech Anim team, mix them together, take it into our stuff, and then they do all their lighting work. Yeah? Yeah, so that's all that bit means. It's just you're going to see lots of the same things, but it's just that's just where these guys work, this is where we work, and that's where they work. Yeah? Cool. Right. So if we open one up, I think I'm working on 4 at the moment. So there are other bundles, but you know, so we're not bombarding you with lots of information. Let's only focus on the important stuff for now. And ACPs is like 90% of our work. Yeah. If you do environments like some trees and stuff, that's going to be somewhere else. But we'll wait until we see what PRD is expecting of you before we start diving into stuff. I don't want to spend a lot of time explaining how other things work, and then you never need them. And you know, we could have just focused on the main bits. Okay, cool. So, like I say, your bundle is all your ACPs, and then the elements are the individual. So your bundle is like the folder that says characters, and then the elements are the individual characters inside it. Yeah. So if we load one up, okay, this is exactly all the information that makes up our ACP. Yeah. Yeah. So there's lots of information here, but don't worry. We look at this guy, the character, the animation cache folder, and very occasionally the Tech Anim folder. That's it. So like this window we're looking at accommodates for every department's work that could possibly be needed. But as the Tech Anim team, we only ever can worry about 3 different folders. There's lots of things like Tech Anim transforms and the rest of it, but some of these are sort of legacy things that we don't really use anymore. So do not worry about those. Like hero cloth models, that's not really an issue anymore with Houdini. Don't worry about Tech Anim. Again, we'll cross that bridge if we need to. It's just a second place you can store a cache, like a geometry cache. Yeah. What we care about is the animation cache folder. Okay. So in the instance of these jellyfish characters, I'm doing cloth work, right? So if we do fur work, that's a different thing. But again, we'll cross that. We'll do that another day. Yeah, we'll just focus on sort of like a cloth simulation based thing for now. And then if we do fur dynamics, we'll look at that later. Yeah. So what we need to be getting is the animation cache. We need to get the geometry cache and the skeleton cache from animation, right? As you can see, this thing says geometry cache, autogen, anim stream, which is what we want, jellyfish, AVA04. Okay, it looks really confusing, but geometry cache, that's just what it is. That's just the cache data for what we want. The anim stream, that's where we want to be grabbing it from. The animation team made it. It is jellyfish AVA04, which is the name of our character. You can see it up here, jellyfish AVA04. And then that dot is just the version. So that's the 9th version of their animation cache. That's absolutely fine, because if this was the wrong version, I'll version back for you, just demonstrate. You see this goes orange? That's a lot of a warning, just saying, hey, this is not the most up-to-date version of the thing you've put in here. Yeah, so if I open this up, if I had a problem and I opened up my hub here and I went, oh, that's a problem, I'm not using the right one, I'm using version 5, right click, check out the version, there's a version 9 available, so I should be using that. Yeah, this is the most important. We also plug in the skeleton cache, but sort of less and less I'm finding we need that so much. It's just good to have it. The cloth cache is what we generate in this instance. Yeah, we're going to take their work, we'll do our simulations over the top of it, and then we release this as an output. And these usually have a lot of, God, I've not actually, like I said, I've only just sort of picked up the show while someone's away, and that is a very long name. Jellyfish AVO4 out, jellyfish AVO4, cloth cache, NPC geocache. That is probably good to be slimming some of that down. But it doesn't, like I said, that doesn't really matter. We just know that, like, so Alex Strickland, who's a very good key artist of ours, he was working on this, and I can see his name if I hover over it, right at the top there, Alex STR. That's him. That's his release. He released this work. So if I was doing a test render of this, I could have a look at it and be like, right, that's the right thing. And if there's a problem, I know there's a problem either generated with my cache or there's a problem somewhere else. I've put all the right things in. Okay, does that all make sense then? So we get these two bits from the animation department, and then this third bit is the bit that we make, yeah? Does that all make sense so far, yeah? Yeah, okay. Just to let you know, the pipeline stuff that we're going over now is probably the most complicated bit and the hardest bit to learn, because you'll know how to do all the different, tech anim work more or less from your own experience. There'll be very little that we do particularly different from one scene to the other, or from one company to the other. It's the pipeline that's the most difficult bit. So don't be watching me demonstrating it now, being like, oh my god, how am I going to remember all this? No. That's why I didn't even bother doing it, because it's honestly, it's not worth you watching a video back of me explaining it all. If you go, what am I supposed to plug in? Just call me and we'll do it in 2 seconds. I say this to all the new people who start with this. The whole point of the whole buddy system, they said, I'm going to be your buddy, is that you'll always have someone you can go, hey, sorry if this is a stupid question, but what do I do? I know you've already told me like 5 or 6 times. Where does this go? And we just tell you that the pipeline is quite confusing and it's quite intimidating. So the point is that you can always ask me any of these questions for now. If in a year's time, if you're still like struggling over it, or you just forget one thing, it's absolutely fine. You will pick this up over time, but you need someone who can always go, where does this go? Yeah. So we'll demo it now, but don't worry about committing it all to memory. You just ask me when you're running work, and then eventually you'll just find that you don't need me anymore. Yeah. Okay, so that's everything with animation cache. I'm just going to go over the character as well. So do you see this little alien head? That's just a warning to let you know that what you've plugged in isn't from this shot. So like, we were saying we're in 301 007. Yeah, so we were looking, so we've got it doesn't actually tell you here, but basically if it just says ... geometry cache, that just means it's this shot. Yeah, it's the right shot. But if you always look at the character, it'll always have this alien head and it'll be a full path because it says build.char jellyfish. Right. Well, we're not in build.char jellyfish, we're in 301.301_0007. Yeah. That's because our character information always comes from build. We do not make new characters per shot. Our characters are always in a job called build. Yeah, so you see over here, like we go all the way back up to scene, we're in 301. If you look here, there's one called build. The build is where we contain all the character information for every character that's going to appear in the film, TV show, advert, whatever we're working on, right? So what we have is we have one char jellyfish, right? And we don't want to look at animated character packages here. We want to look at the character packages. So if you think an animated character packages is where we take that character package and animate it. Character package is just all the information. It's where we store the information about the model, the textures. It's where the rig is kept for the animators. It's where certain variations of such as, when animations start, they need to look at the character package and bring all that same stuff in the same way that all we release is cache data, right? We need somewhere for that cache data to grab a model to put it on. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. And then here you'll find basically lots of different variations. You'll see like AVA. What we do, our variations are just sort of something on the lines of AVA, AVB, BVA, BVC. Do you see what I mean? Like, and it'll just be something that every new show you just have to sort of slowly pick it up, and you're like, it's it's never really our responsibility to say which one we want. It's all set up before us because we are always just taking what animation worked with. Yeah, so it doesn't matter what they're called. We just know they'll just they'll point to the scene. Sometimes they'll go, we want some cloth simulations on these three guys in the front. We just look to see which one of those three are. Usually they'll give you the information, or you just sort of bring into a scene all of the ACPs with the camera and see which three you need, and you only work on those three, right? But getting a little bit ahead of myself. That's where the information's kept, the build stuff. But let's go back to the shot, because I think it's easier to see it where we were before. Okay, so that's just pointing exactly to where we were before, pointing to build this guy, and then the char jellyfish, and then character package, and then it's the specific one, which is cloth stream fish AVA, right? And we already saw there was an AVB with its own variations, and there was a bunch of other ones. So we can have a look in here. Inside the character, we don't actually care about any of this. We just always want to look inside character type. So the character type is where we're saying, like, you might have an AVA jellyfish that had that has perfectly smooth head, and there might be another one that has a scar, and there might be another one that has a slightly smaller head, and there might be another one that's, I don't know, old. Do you know what I mean? Where if they have things like multiple similar looking characters like wolves or something like that, but they just want to have some variation between the two of them, that's where this information is stored, inside the character type. It doesn't often, it very rarely comes up, but just so you know, you go into character type, and that's where we get our information. Yeah. Yeah, cool. And again, it's another one of those ones where you're like, oh my god, there's so many folders. Always just hero for us. Everything else is things to do with the rig, which we do not care about. We never touch the rig. We never animate with the rig. That's not our thing. And then a bunch of other things I've never looked at. Okay. Inside the hero, again, loads of information that seems very scary. I have no idea what any of this means. All we want to know is this guy. That's the only guy we were interested in, yeah? That is the model, yeah. Because if this guy gets updated and animations start caching with a different model, we need to make sure that we're making our caches on the same model. Otherwise, it's never going to work. There'll be an error, and our guy will just stand still in the scene and not actually animate. So when we're doing our ACP, right, what we're actually telling it when we gather that into Houdini or Maya or whatever we're working in, we're saying, get this model, yeah, the model from jellyfish A, LODA. LOD is just level of detail, just in case. It's nearly always A. And then scroll down, give it this cache, and then we've released this cache. So anything we've told to be cloth, then give those bits this cache. Yeah, so there's tons of folders in here, and we care about 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 things. Yeah, like I say, if you start getting into things like fur, there are other bits we need to look at, and obviously if you start getting into like environments, there's even more other little bits, but we'll wait till we see what the show needs before that, because while you're just sort of getting to grips with the idea of streams and elements, bundles and ACPs and all the rest of it, let's just keep it really nice and simple to begin with. Yeah, this won't be needing to deal with a great deal. You shouldn't need to play with the character very often. Per shot, you should only really be looking at this. If there's an issue or something goes wrong with the scene, that's when you start checking and making sure this guy is in the right, up to date. Yeah, cool. We'll leave it there because I've got to jump onto some other bits. But before I go, does that make any question? Does that make somewhat sense to begin with? Does that make at least a little bit of sense? Did you follow that? Yeah, cool. Yeah, like I say, so don't worry about it. What have they given you has anyone approached you or spoken to you about what to work on and stuff? No. Okay. I'll need to find something, because I don't know what else we can give you to do in the meantime. If you've read all the bits and we're going, if I'm going to be, they want me to work on some other stuff, I can't. I will speak to someone tomorrow and see if anyone from PRD is about, to maybe reach out and give you some sort of introduction to the show. Yeah, I don't know if there will be. Obviously, in a very sort of weird time. We've got 4 days until Christmas, and then the end of the year, like lots of people will be on holiday, so I might not even be able to contact the person to give me the information of who to speak to from PRD. Yeah. But yeah, I wonder if actually can we get onto PRD for review tool, and you can at least have a look at some stuff. So job the Pekanim the have you seen review tool yet? Okay, we'll do a quick 5 minutes about review tool. So review tool with a capital T is a command for looking at all our dailies. It's the tool we use to look at dailies and stuff like that. Yeah. So if you job in, you have to be jobbed in, otherwise it won't really work. And then you go to the review tool tab in review tool, and you want to create a new dailies panel. Okay. Oh, I wonder if you're working on a panda. That'd be quite cool. But sorry, just distracted there. You'll see up here you can go by scene shot, or you can either look at just like all the dailies that come out today. You can see like today there's been 2, whereas like a week ago there were 27. So it's obviously like really ramping down. So this will be like everyone who works on the show. You can see everyone's work here. So you can go by scene shot. So you see how like in mine it was like 301 something or other. It's letters in your one. It's different every single show, but they still have a build. You see. And in build, you can have a look at BioBug. Oh, Grace. What's this guy? There's not much. I guess it's obviously quite a little slow, This is just like asset development stuff. It would make no sense to me. So they're still working on the rig for this guy. So it might be very early days, to be honest. It looks like. It's where everyone puts up their work, and when you do these daily sessions, like I say, you'll have them somewhere between sort of 2 and 5 times a week. Someone will open up this review tool, share their screen, and they will look through stuff, and you'll all talk about it. Let's have a look for a different day and just see if anything. Oh, I'll tell you what. Actually, we can also do is up here. You've got search, daily, playlist, and reference. You can do search. You can set the discipline to like. Is there going to be any? I don't imagine there will be any comp stuff. No. Oh, some comp stuff. Actually, if we go daily scene shot, you can pick a scene. Let's pick CCH. Go to the edit. You can often watch it. Although that might be a documentary about Africa. I'm not sure. I don't know how any of this works, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I think this is a lot of reference stuff about some of these creatures. Because there's no, if they're still doing the rig, there's any anim or anything like that. So, oh, there you go. You can see there's they've chucked some very simple stuff in there. What is PRD? I thought PRD was Predator. PRD. This looks like a documentary. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll have to find out, I guess, at some point. But I'm not seeing any work on. Well, there's bears and crocodiles and jaguars. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. But yeah, if you job in just as simply like job D tech anim, PRD, and then open up review tool, you should be able to have a look and just have a little look around until we can find someone to reach out about what you'll be working on. This looks like one of those documentaries to me. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the wrong show. Who knows? I guess we'll find out at some point. But I will reach out to someone in a second, and if I hear anything back, I'll let you know. But it's going to be a bit of a weird time, unfortunately. Until then, yeah. If there's anyone around who can kick you off on the show to give you at least something to start playing around with, it'll be a bit more interesting for the next few days, rather than just trying to reread the same bits you've read. Yeah, unfortunately, so apologies. It's been a bit of a weird start. I would have thought someone would have reached out to you by now, but I will see if I can find out what's going on. I'll see if I can find out what's going on for you and let you know. I'll keep you posted. Cool. Okay. Well, I'll speak to you soon, mate. You too. Bye-bye.